was just thinking about wine tasting and like spitting out soy sauce. Yeah, that would be gross, wouldn't it? We don't want a spit bucket. Hey, I'm Marion and welcome to Marion's Test Kitchen. So in this episode, I'm going to be asking what I think is a really big, important cooking question and one that you guys ask me all the time on the channel. And that is, does it matter which soy sauce you use? Okay, number 3. Yay, I got one! So there are so many different soy sauces from different countries, different styles of soy sauce, and I think most people, and I did do a poll around the office this morning, but most people kind of just pick one off the shelf depending on the color of the label. Isn't that right, Holly? Is that what you do?
Oh yeah, whatever has the coolest label, that's what I pick.
Case in point. So that's not what I do. So at my house, I have 3, 4, sometimes up to 6 soy sauces in my pantry, and I use them for different things. So what I want to test out today is, am I crazy or are you crazy? Is Holly crazy? Now, what I think is really interesting is, does it matter which soy sauce you choose for which cuisine that you're cooking, for starters? And also, I want to know, is it worth paying more for your soy sauce, or can you just go bargain basement? So first of all, what is soy sauce? Soy sauce is basically a salty seasoning produced from fermented soybeans, wheat, and salt. Your main varieties are light soy sauce, dark soy sauce, and sweet dark soy sauce. Your classic everyday soy sauce is often called light soy sauce, which refers mainly to its colour. It doesn't mean that it's lighter in sodium or salt. In fact, light soy sauce is typically more salty than dark or sweet dark soy sauce. But today, we're just going to focus on your everyday classic light soy sauce. One of the things I think that most people are not going to do at home is actually sit down and taste some soy sauce side by side just on its own. So I really want to see here what the differences are. I have 3 different soy sauces here which are from different countries. I can see already that we have a bit of a colour difference, particularly number 1 here is quite light compared to all the others. I'm going to start off with number 1. Yeah, that colour is really quite light. It's like sort of like golden. Lovely. It's salty. It does have quite a round flavour though. It's not really harsh, like it's a very smooth kind of salty. It's very elegant, if you can describe a soy sauce as elegant. And it has a slight amount of that sweetness, which is what is giving it that round characteristic that I'm talking about. It's not just like direct salt, if you know what I mean. Like it's got quite a nice rounded flavour. It's hard because that's the first one, so I think I really need like a comparison here. So I'll get some water. Definitely darker here, like more of like a mahogany rather than like golden amber. Wow, I'm gonna have to come up with lots of descriptive words for the color brown, aren't I? Okay, let's try. This one is definitely more directly salty. Does have a kind of slight sweetness to it, but this one was more like really quite pleasant actually. Maybe less salty, that first one. This one is far more salty, a little bit sweet, but like, you know, and when I say sweet, I mean it's not sweet. It's more like you have a direct saltiness, but then you have another kind of like savory, sweet element to it. Okay, number 3. Again, that mahogany color. Okay, so that one is far more what I would say like astringent, like it's kind of making me do that thing. So it's obviously very much more directly salty, that one, but is less dimensional. So for me, that one is all kind of salt, astringent salt, like a little bit harsh, but not quite as round. It's not as soft as the others, is what I would say. What I do know is that one of these soy sauces is Chinese, one is Thai, and one is Japanese. So they're the country of origins that I need to be guessing here for each of these soy sauces. I think number 2 is Kikkoman. Great, I got 1, yes. Then 1 and 3 then. So this one, which is quite light in terms of the color, that needs to be the Chinese Pearl River then.
Swing on, Jibbo. Get that.
No? Damn, okay. So number 3 is the Chinese Pearl River. Yeah. Okay, and number 1 is the Thai. Yeah. Really? Yeah. Wow. The moral of the story though is this. I think that these are all three very typical of their country of origin style of soy sauce. So the Thai soy sauce, definitely on the lighter side in terms of saltiness, has a lovely rounded flavor, but definitely not as intense, which you can also see from the color. Kikkoman soy sauce, round flavor, more intensely salty than the Thai, but still has that slight hint of sweetness to it. The Pearl River Chinese soy sauce, very direct, very sharp, quite intense in terms of the saltiness. So there you go. Now let's get into premium versus budget. And now I am completely quite scared at my skills of choosing between that one now. Now I have two soy sauces here. One is expensive, one is cheap. They're both a Chinese style of soy sauce. So technically they should have a similar flavor profile, but whether they do or not, let's see. So I'm gonna jump in here with number one. They both seem to have a similar color. That's interesting. It's almost got a little bit of like a molasses flavor to it, like a slightly molasses, as well as the saltiness. So not as salty as some of the other ones we tried in the country of origin tasting. Okay, number two. Definitely saltier. I like that one actually. That flavor difference is really distinct. This one tastes cleaner, I think, to me. Has a much more direct and sharp kind of salty flavor, whereas number one kind of feels a little bit muddier. I don't know, it's not as pleasant as number two. So I'm gonna make a call. I have no idea here, but I like number two better. So I'm gonna say number two is the expensive and number one is the cheap.
Yes.
Yay, I got one! So here are the actual soy sauces. This one is the Amoy light soy sauce. This one is the Pearl River Bridge Golden Label Superior Light Soy Sauce. So this one is actually the more expensive version of the original Pearl River Superior Light Soy Sauce that we tried in the first country of origin one. So now that I have a really clear understanding about the differences in the soy sauce when you try them out on their own, I think it's really important now to test them out in cooking. After I've cooked all the fried rice, I want to be able to compare like the flavor, obviously, but also things like the color, the appearance, does the country of origin make a difference? And also, what's the difference between a cheap and an expensive soy sauce? So they're all the things I'd like to find out from cooking all the different fried rices. So let's get going. I got a lot of fried rice to cook. I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of oil into a hot wok, add in the eggs, then add 2 cups of cooked rice, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, toss that together, and then add my spring onion. So here we are, we have our 5 fried rices with our 5 different soy sauces. And first up, I guess, let's have a look at color. The Thai fried rice, definitely on the lighter side. That's a much paler result. And then these ones here that move from the Japanese through to the Chinese, they all look fairly similar in terms of color. But I mean, the real point here is what does it all taste like? So let's get in here. I'm gonna start off with the Thai fried rice. That's actually a really good fried rice. It's great. And actually, despite its pale color, the actual salty seasoning on this fried rice is really lovely. It's perfect for me. Nice kind of balanced flavor. It doesn't taste too sharp or astringent or anything like that. It's nice fried rice. So when I was trying this soy sauce on its own, I was kind of worried about how it would stand up to the rest of the soy sauces because it did seem to have a lighter, less intense flavor. But now that I've tried it in the rice, I feel like the actual saltiness is kind of pretty perfect, really. It's not over the top, but it's also not under seasoned as well. But I don't know whether I have like taste bud bias here or not. I mean, I obviously grew up eating Thai fried rice, so probably with this Healthy Boy brand. It's a very common brand in Thailand. So I don't know whether my taste buds are just registering that kind of nostalgia. I think overall, to start with, this is good. I'm happy with that. If I cooked fried rice with this soy sauce, I'd be happy with it. So that is interesting. That flavor profile is definitely there. So I want to try the Kikkoman, the Japanese soy sauce, darker color than the Thai soy sauce. Oh yeah, it's actually pretty much like chalk and cheese. The flavor profile here is definitely different. I couldn't at this stage say that one is better than the other. They're just really different. So the Kikkoman has given the fried rice a slightly more intense flavor and umami-ness, if you know what I mean, like savoriness, but it's probably just slightly a little bit on the sweeter side as well. So it's a very kind of round flavor, more savory characters. It's not like a really harsh kind of saltiness. It's really nice. I would be happy if I was served this fried rice. But it's amazing though, the difference between the two. Like they actually taste very different. This one's slightly more sweet, slightly more intense, and this one less so, but still really yummy. So okay, so I've got my Pearl River light soy sauce. So this is my Chinese style soy sauce. Again, it's very different. This again is the style of, you know, fried rice, because I guess I use a lot of this soy sauce at home. So this flavor of fried rice is very familiar to me. It is probably more on the salty, savory side rather than having that really round, slightly sweeter kind of flavor that you get from the Japanese. I think in terms of like saltiness, both kind of like on par for me. All right, let's try the premium version. So this is the premium version of the Pearl River Bridge. It tastes yummier. This more premium version is definitely like just like a step above in terms of the savoriness that you get from the soy sauce. I feel like it has a bit more dimension in terms of the flavor. It's not just salty. I really like that one. Like if I was going to pick at the moment a favorite, that one is coming in really hot. I think because it has a soft saltiness that isn't super direct or like kind of tart, but it also just tastes yum. I like that one. So we have one more final soy sauce to try, and that is our budget version. So let's see what happens here. The flavor is definitely less intense, probably the least intense out of all 5. So it's not as salty. And I feel like I'm just not getting that kick, that really good kick of umami and savory flavor that I'm getting from all the other ones. It's just a little bit more insipid than the others. But I have to say, when I tried this one at the beginning, there was that kind of molasses flavor I was talking about, which I'm not getting now that I've used to cook with it. And I think certainly if you were cooking with this soy sauce and you hadn't tried all the others, I don't think that you would notice the difference, if you like. You wouldn't say, oh, that's a weird, it's not weird tasting or anything. It's just tastes like a fried rice with a salty soy sauce in there. It doesn't have the depth of flavor that some of the other ones have though. So what's the verdict, guys? Look, after all of that, am still a proponent of keeping multiple soy sauces. If you were hoping for a one soy sauce answer, I'm not going to give it to you, because I definitely feel like there is a flavor difference between country of origin, so Thai, Japanese, and Chinese. And my preference would still be to use the matching cuisine with the matching soy sauce, because I think that gives you the most distinctive flavor in my mind. But, and this is a big but, so if you had to decide and you wanted to just keep one soy sauce, I feel like the premium Chinese did the best in terms of the tasting at the beginning, after we cooked the fried rice. So I feel like this is the strongest player in our soy sauce lineup today, but I would still advocate for keeping all of them. No, I was surprised actually at the difference between the premium and some of the other ones. Still, you know, this one, not my favorite. Least favorite, most favorite, but if I was going to choose, I would still keep this one, and this one. Is that an answer?